I told them all, I am the master.
All right.
Welcome, museum staff, rebel youths, and future exhibits, to episode 357 of An Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 10th of June, 2020, and featuring the Space Museum, written by Glenn Jones and starring William Hartnell as the Doctor, Jacqueline Hill as Barbara Wright, William Russell as Ian Chesterton, and Maureen O'Brien as Vicky. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and while we try not to get into serious events here, for my sign-in, I have to say, Black Lives Matter and fuck racists. With me are Randy Ronson McCulloch.
You know, I've been waiting all my life for the year 2020. I can't believe it's already half over.
Mad Matt Winchell.
Not everything you expect it to be, is it?
Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Why do Spider-Man's senses tingle?
And Thomas Fireheart.
Belongs in a museum.
Well, you see, Tim, when a spider...
Indy would have been a good bump for this.
Oh. The hard part would be trying to find out where he belongs. But you see, Tim, when a Spider-Man gets older, and he loves another Spider-Woman very, very much.
Oh.
The thing is, I am now mentally imagining Peter Parker running around New York City going, gotta find danger, gotta need my fix. Oh, that's the stuff.
Actually, I would be surprised if there was a time frame where he was a bit like that. Poor Peter
I would
Spencer
not be
everything.
Surprised. Yeah, the Dark Age was a weird time.
Oh yeah,
no,
especially the Dark Age of comic books. It was a very weird time, almost as weird as the Bronze Age.
I was just thinking, in video games, it's more of a buzzing.
But no, I mean, you know, Cyberpunk 2020 was my jam growing up in the 90s. And all these events were supposed to be taking place in the year in 2020. And it's like, geez, it's 2020 and we've spent half our lives indoors hiding from a virus.
Well, let's all eat right and be healthy and see if we can see what 2099 is like.
Can't be worse than 2020.
Actually, the next big one in my book is 2050. That was when Shadowrun was supposed to take place.
Well, let's find out if the orcs are going to appear.
Yeah. That one was a little more far-fetched. That one, you know, involves, you know, Native Americans doing a giant spirit dance and then awakening races all over the world, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, no.
Well, you never know when magic might actually turn out to be real, so we'll see.
I mean, the most outrageous thing that happened in the Cyberpunk 2020 timeline was basically the Mideast going into thermonuclear meltdown in 1996, which obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
No, but we spent a good chunk of the early. Yeah, we've spent a good chunk of the aughts expecting that to happen.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you though, when they announced the euro as the European currency in the early 90s, I'm like, oh crap, that's on the timeline.
We still aren't done the credits system.
Yeah, we keep inching closer. I actually mentioned to Aaron the other day, yesterday, as I was doing my banking. I am waiting for the day that, you know, all of our bank account information is on one stick, and you basically just do the equivalent of a USB transfer to actually give somebody money.
That stick will be called just the Apple Pay app on your phone.
You would have to convince me
Or
to buy an
Samsung
Apple
Pay.
first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
that's
or Samsung Pay for the rest of us. Yes.
yeah, it's still not as good as if I just want to give my money to Aaron as opposed to a business. That's my problem with the system right now.
Yeah, they haven't adapted I mean there's PayPal, there's Venmo, but it's not universalized to the point where you can just like tap your phone and send
Yeah.
$20.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It'll be there soon though.
the thing is, in this household, Erin's the one that writes the rent check.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually wind up giving her my half of the rent. So before I would write her a check. But I've been out of checks for a little bit. So we actually physically have to go to the bank. I have to take out money, give it to her.
You don't have PayPal?
I do, but the amount of hoops I have to go through for it annoys the hell out of me.
Not to mention, I think they would take a percentage of the money he puts in there too.
I don't know if it's based on a certain amount, but if it's friends and family and it's not labeled as being commercial, there's no fee, at least under a certain dollar amount.
Yeah, the problem is the last time I tried it, it wanted me to go through like this whole re-security issue that was like I didn't have half the information they wanted, so I'm like,
Oh,
no.
so maybe they're just your account wasn't set up properly enough for them to feel that it was safe for you to do that.
Mm-hmm. Which annoyed the fuck out of me because, yeah. I don't need to give them my parents' middle names. Fuck them.
Gotcha.
Not everybody has a middle name last time I checked. I mean, a lot of people do, but not everybody.
Yeah, how's everybody's week been?
It happened.
Yeah, basically it happened. It's been a whirlwind of just trying to keep up with everything.
I brought my car to the mechanic trying to see like, okay, maybe I need to spend a couple $100 in repairs before I can drive it to Ohio. The mechanic basically said, yeah, you should not be driving this thing. It could fall apart any minute. Do not.
Oh. Nope, that's my end. We'll be back in a moment. Sorry. I'm going to try and get something to run in the background in the meantime.
Blue Book value, and he said it's not worth it, and I agreed. Like the car's worth like $600-700. It'd be at least double that to make it safe to drive.
Yeah, I've not hit that level. My car is still worth at least like $3,000. How old is your car?
It's 99, but it was in a pretty decent accident before it was sold to my sister. Honestly, they probably should have junked it back then, but I don't know if it was ever reported to insurance at the time.
Okay.
So it was sold to my sister, and then she gave it to me after she got a better car.
Yeah, that's the thing. My car's from 2004, but it's never been in a serious accident.
I said junked. I should have said totaled, but like it probably should have been totaled out if the insurance was good enough at the time. But
yeah, I mean, the most I had was a little bumper paint trading, and we're talking, 5 miles an hour hit, not, not actual permanent dent, just literally paint scrapes.
Just a slight scrape, yeah.
I could basically take it into a shop to get a new paint job, and it would look just like.
Well, it's
basically someone keyed your car with just one swipe.
Ever since I've had the car, the windows didn't work. One of the doors makes a creaking sound when you open it. It's needed a new tie rod. And there's been certain parts that are dented to the point where rain is definitely getting into the innards of the car whenever it rains.
That's not good.
Well, I've had some weirder issues. My windows tend to work, except the passenger one doesn't work half the time, and that's like electrical short. I don't know. My odometer no longer reads right because apparently moisture got into the odometer, and it's one of those digital suckers.
No.
Arg.
So it literally needs a new LCD screen, which unfortunately would cost more than the car is worth. But only because, chaining the electrics in a car is absurdly expensive. And the only person that can do the replacement of the odometer is the dealer, which makes it extra expensive.
Right.
That just sounds ridiculous. Yeah.
So, yeah, no.
Real deal.
Yeah, I just deal with it. Erin wants to get a new car so that she can, not worry about the fact if mine ever breaks down, but mine's been kind of a tank, to be honest.
Yeah, all considering what's been through, it's lasted quite a while.
Which surprises me because my family hereditarily has never had good luck with any car that wasn't a Ford.
Weird.
I don't know why. Fords work wonderfully for us. They'll last forever except the battery. But
Well,
every
that's a
other
battery.
car we've had has had like the transmission fall out from under us or something like that. Just weird, I know.
My father's always had issues with keeping normal trucks alive. He keeps getting pickups, and then they just rot out and die on him. And while that's happening, he gets another vehicle for like quick to work stuff, essentially.
My uncle had a truck. He had to start with a screwdriver.
Yeah, I've heard of those kinds.
So
But my uncle
anybody
was-
else have weekly updates, or should we move on to birthdays?
Yeah, we are starting to ramble a bit.
Yeah, we are. I don't really need to get it. I
Trying to
don't
think if
really
there's
need to get
anything
about my redneck
remarkable in
family.
particular. Yeah, nothing too remarkable on my end. Some interesting stuff happened, but it's mostly just kind of, oh, that was nice, and move on. Or that was scummy, and move on.
All right. So on tonight's show, we've got birthdays. We have a bit of Big Finish news. And we have a lot of geek talk.
I just realized I forgot to put onto the thing that I'm ready to review Marco Polo today. I forgot to put it on the outline.
Oh, we also forgot to mention that Bill's having some microphone issues, but still better than him constantly not being able to log in.
Yep.
At least he can hear us, which was better than last week, apparently.
Well, yeah, as soon as he logged in, he'd hear maybe a pop and then back to loading in again.
Yep.
And we have no idea what was up with that. Did it just randomly work this week, or did you?
Yeah, I went in half an hour early because I was like, maybe I'll need to find another option, and it worked perfectly fine. Well, apparently not perfectly fine on your end, but
yeah, I would suggest the theory
fine.
that we thought of before, which is maybe you need to uninstall and reinstall it, and maybe that'll fix whatever's going on with it.
Maybe.
Yeah, it might be.
Might be just that an update ran funky. You need to completely just scrap it and re-upload it.
Right.
It's possible. I mean, that's what we're
wouldn't be a
guessing
first.
anyway. All right, so then I guess after our Massa Geek Talk, we have a review of Shame, which might be a little robot-y. And then our summary, our review, our final thoughts, and our ratings. So, are we ready to get into this?
I'm ready.
Sure.
All right, so I think we have 3 birthdays this week. The first one is on June 4th and is the birthday of Julie Gardner. If you're going, who the hell is Julie Gardner? She was the executive producer for Doctor Who, Torchwood, and the Sarah Jane Adventures from 2005 to 2009. She was the lady that was in the controller for BBC One that basically went to Russell T and went, let's start Doctor Who.
Even though she admitted that she had no clue at the time what Doctor Who was about.
She's like, this was popular. We still get requests to start the show again.
You've talked about Doctor Who. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
God bless her.
But by the time she was giving up her tenure, she apparently could state a lot of facts about the show. So, congrats to her.
And she was the one that basically tried to keep Russell T from having a nervous breakdown the entire time he was showrunner. which was in itself a full-time job. All right. On the same day is the birthday of Bradley Walsh, better known as Graham O'Brien in current Who from 2018 to present. He turned 60. And then finally, on the 8th, on Monday, was the birthday of Colin Baker, the Doctor from 1984 to 1986. He turned 77. So happy birthday, Julie, Bradley, and Colin.
Alrighty.
Yay.
So,
Hooray!
moving down to news, and all we have is Big Finish news.
Yep. Big Finish employees at their warehouse division returned to work on Monday, so anyone expecting shipments of physical Big Finish media should receive them soon.
Apparently, this is a sign the lockdown in Britain is coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like things may be returning to normal there soon. We still got a couple months on our full-on.
Oh yeah, from stuff I've seen, it's like it's probably premature because I think they've still got new cases cropping up in the UK and that, but like the government's just like fuck it.
Well, it's probably thinned down enough that they're like, we've probably got most of them in the hospital at this point, if they need it. Hopefully. Oh. Dang it all. Be just a moment.
And as we've been mentioning, Big Finish has decided to give people something to listen to while they're on lockdown or social distancing. Every Monday, a new story or episode from a box set collection will be made available to download exclusively from the Big Finish website's weekly for a Big Finish account, which is free to create, and played on the Big Finish listening app, which is free to install. Each story will be available for 1 week only and comes accompanied to offer unrelated titles. This week's free title, Part 1, adapted by Alan Barnes and starring Tom Baker as the Doctor.
That is the comic book adaptations, so
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
grabbed it. I'll probably listen to it later.